Alto strode along the town street. His mind was in a haze. It was just one thing after another. One nightmare going after him, and then something new. He needed a break. Some place to rest without something trying to kill him. Seriously, was the bard cursed? Was his seeing drawing the monsters in? He wandered up to the walls of the city and looked out at the darkness beyond the safety of the walls. The night crept up towards him. It felt like it wanted to rip him from the walls and devour him. A terrifying thought for the bard. He rubbed his arms against himself to ward off the cold. Turning about, he headed back to the village. As he took the first step off the ramparts, a large dark shadow swept down and grabbed him in its claws like steel hooks. Alto looked up at the monster holding him aloft. Strange tentacles lapped around its sharp beak. Paralyzed with fear, Alto was carried off towards the mountains. Welcome back to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. I'm your guide, Jason. Today we seek out a monster native to North America. A bizarre creature which looks like a haphazard mixture of animals, the Snallygaster. Let's see what we can make of such a strange creature. The Snallygaster comes from northeastern United States. Most sightings are found around Maryland. It first began to show up in the early 1700s. It is described as a combination of a bird and reptile, sometimes described as dragon-like. It has sharp claws and beak that looks like a metallic hook. Either coming from the mouth or around the mouth are tentacles like an octopus. It lets off a screech like a train's whistle. Lastly, it's said to have only one eye. Yeah, it looks weird. It flies about and steals livestock and children. It takes them back to its mountain cavern where it eats them. Though some claim that it does drink their blood. So where does it come from? Well, it comes from a mixture of mythology from German immigrants and Native American legends. Some say it is tied to the thunderbird, crossed with the German Snallygaster, the quick spirit. Okay, so let's figure out what this thing is. Is it a dragon? Well, I don't think it is. There is nothing about it being magical. Not a single mention of it. So no, not a dragon. We are probably dealing with a creature that comes from when birds and reptiles divided. Probably an offshoot of something like the octopus. Now, what is going on with the octopus tentacles in the mouth? The most likely option is they are modified tongues. You could still add the suckers to improve the grip strength. I actually like this setup. For most birds, it can be hard to get a good grip on their food. Their only option is to grab it with their feet. With the mouth tentacles, the Snallygaster can use them to manipulate their food easier and to a higher degree. Due to the size of the tentacles, we'll need to adjust the throat to fit them in. Most birds have a section of their throat called a crop. In some species, it can be used to store seeds and help break them down. But with the Snallygaster, I want to modify it to accommodate the tentacles. This means it won't be able to eat things like seeds, but birds that eat fish and meat usually have a very small or absent crop. After that, we have the Cyclops eye. With a single eye, it'll lose some depth perception, unless we copy something similar to the chameleon's eyes. This means a small pupil open to focus light and increased mobility to allow for visual scanning. This part may not be needed due to the length of the neck to edit. This part may not be needed due to the length of the neck to allow it to turn its head more. Still, a single eye is going to be an issue. Where is the eye located? Above the beak or to the side? All birds have their eyes set on the sides of their head. If one was on the front like a human's, it'll lose a large portion of its field of vision due to that beak. But if the single eye is located on one side, Then it can't see what's happening on the other side. Yes, this is a bad setup. It'll need to turn its head to look around. Thus, having a long neck is going to be better. Beak next. Well, beak and claws. They are said to be metallic. Could they simply be a gray or a metallic color? Not without the strength. Its claws are strong and durable. And this is an issue. This creature can fly. To fly, birds have hollowed bones, which makes them more brittle. This doesn't match up. So we need to make claws and beak tough but light. The metallic color might be a clue. Could we make an aluminum skeleton? Could that provide the strength needed and be light enough? Well, in 1920s, airplanes were made using an aluminum compound. And many wood-cutting blades are made from aluminum. So, yes, we could make an aluminum skeleton. Okay, but how? Bones are calcium-based, which have 2 open valence electrons. Aluminum has 3. So we can't do a simple element substitution. That means creating a whole new chemical structure for the bones. A very complex system. The new bones will need to be able to produce blood cells, grow, and heal. The last 2 means reworking the osteoclast and osteoblast cells. Yes, we're going to have to rework all of this. But high aluminum concentrations can be poisonous. So we have another problem. We'll need to rework its immune system to handle this. Yeah, a lot of problems. One option is that only the claws and beak have the aluminum. Aluminum would require it to dig and eat up dirt to acquire enough to grow. If it is only a small amount, then it will be easier to gather. Thankfully, aluminum can be found in feldspar deposits, which are mined in the Maryland area, which means it'll need to make its lair in caves where such minerals are available. Overall, I think calling its claws and beak metallic is due to the color, not the actual material it is made from. The skeleton will need to have an avian design with a larger keel on the sternum to take the muscles for flight, in addition to the unilateral airflow lungs like a bird. So, how big is this thing? We know it can pick up farm animals and small children. We can use this to estimate its size. On average, most birds can carry an animal that is about 1.08 times its weight. Goats can weigh up to 90 pounds. The reason I am looking at goats rather than cows is the weight of a cow being thousands of pounds, and pigs reaching up to 700 pounds. And a 90-pound goat would be heavier than a small child, bigger than it'll need to be. So a 90-pound goat would be carried by an 83-pound Snallygaster. A bald eagle weighs about 15 pounds. So a Snallygaster would be about 5.5 times the size and weight. A bald eagle's wingspan is up to 8 feet. So a roughly 44-foot wingspan. A fairly big animal. Now, if you think it goes for bigger farm animals, we can round up. There isn't any specifications on whether it has reptilian or bird wings, but there would be little difference in function. This isn't a perfect weight estimate, but can be used to give us an idea. If we keep the same proportions as the bald eagle, which is 3 feet tall, then the Snallygaster should be about 16.5 feet tall. Some of that being the legs, of course. Remember, its body is very light due to the avian anatomy needed for flight. It has a very thin appearance if you remove the feathers, almost skeletal. Many depictions of the Snallygaster give it a long, ropey tail rather than a short, feathered one. This can make it less stable while flying, but if it holds it out behind, then it can stabilize it some. There's one final thing about the Snallygaster to talk about. The Snallygaster has a foe, a rival, which it constantly engages in battle, the Dawayu, and we'll look at that next week. So, how do we battle the Snallygaster? While in flight, you'll need range. A powerful bow and arrow can pierce its body if you can get in range. On the magic side, an ice spell can freeze up its wings and make it drop to the ground. Fleeing heavy boulders will shatter its bones if they aren't aluminum. Fire and lightning are nice too, particularly if it does have the metal skeleton. If you combine its wings or tear the wing membrane, it'll be stuck on the ground. It'll try to dive down and swoop you away. It isn't designed for a prolonged fight. Fight where you have cover. Get indoors, a house, or a barn. Get cover and open fire. Due to the unilateral lung system, it'll be susceptible to smoke and poison gas. Those could blow back in your face, so be careful. Sadly, it may try to grab you. If it does, you'll need to avoid the beak and watch the talons. While high up, you can't kill it. If you do, you'll fall, unless you have a slow fall spell or parachute. It'll end up bad. If it grabs you, find a safe spot. Best spot is between the wings on the back. Not a great spot, but if you are in the air, you've already made a few mistakes. Once on the ground, battle changes. You are safer while it is up in the air. On the ground, it has claws and beak. Those can rip you apart. Armor up. Gambeson will be torn apart. But better that than you. Chainmail and plate are going to be better. A shield will be helpful too. Once you get past the claws and beak, you've got the tentacles. They can grab you and pull you in, immobilize you. If it has the suckers, it'll be hard to get them off. One option is to coat your armor in a nauseous substance. If the tentacles are its tongues, it'll make it recoil from the taste. If not, making your armor hard or electrifying it. Either option will hurt the Snallygaster. But it could make it harder for it to disconnect from you. That is why I like the shield here. If it grabs the shield, don't have it strapped on your arm. You can just let go, and you'll have the Snallygaster's tentacles tied up for a moment. A sword or axe can cut the tentacles to free yourself. I'd take the sword personally. More cutting surface. A spear would be able to reach through the tentacles and get to the chest. If you can get in close, a mace will easily break the bones, if they aren't aluminum. If you are hunting it, the Snallygaster makes its home in mountain caverns. You'll need climbing equipment and rations to reach it. Wait for night to make your move. Let it go to sleep, and then enter its home. You'll find bones of farm animals and deer near the opening and inside. Take your time. Scout it out before. If you know it is out on the hunt, you can poke around and set a trap. The Snallygaster isn't smart. It is a simple creature. There is one final option. We'll look at it more next week. But the Snallygaster has a natural enemy. The American wolfman known as the Dawayu. If you can recruit it to your side, you'll have an ally which is dedicated to this task. Overall, the Snallygaster can be dangerous and warrants a 4 of 10 for difficulty. It can't attack you while airborne, but if you got enough ranged weapons, you can still attack back. It is good at grappling, and best to fight at range. So long as you can avoid its metallic claws, beak, and tentacle, it shouldn't be that difficult. I have my faith that a competent party will slay it without any problem. The Snallygaster lacks any magical power, thus limits it in the benefits and potions. But there might be one option, but it ties with the Dawayu. Aside from that, we have the skin to make leather. It's thick and somewhat durable. The feathers can be used in decorations or in pillows. They are a little stiff and not popular for bedding. The meat is pleasant. Most of the meat will be dark meat, but the tentacle tongues are rather delicious. I'm sure you'll find plenty recipes for it. Butter it, bread it, cook it in oil. You'll need several different seasonings, but a few nice options. Does anyone want to share their Snallygaster recipes? Now, if you found an egg, could you raise it? I don't think so. It'll be dangerous, like having a pet alligator. Not a good idea. Besides, the eggs taste good too. It has metallic bones, and those are useful. A blacksmith will pay you nicely for such a plentiful source of metal. The Snallygaster flew through the sky. Clutching its claws was the helpless bird. It yelled and screamed, but it didn't care. He was food, and high in the sky. Alto looked down at the world as rivers and forests were swept by. Wind filled his ears. He couldn't hear the Snallygaster's cries. It turned course as it headed for the mountains. Alto quickly lost his location. He was good and lost as it dropped him in its lair. Alto rolled to the bottom of the pit with the large reptilian bird standing there. The tentacles flicked around its large beak. Hungrily, it advanced on its prey. Its large talons scraped the bones and rocks inside. Alto trembled. He was going to die. He knew it. A howl pierced his nightmares. His eyes searched the cavern opening. A creature was standing there looking at the Snallygaster. The Snallygaster is a weird creature, yet lacks the range abilities to pose a serious threat. I'm sure that you can defeat this large flying reptile bird octopus hybrid with a little care. Thank you for watching, adventurers. Please come back next week for the Dwyer like I promised. Until then, I'll see you on the roads.